Hello, I've known this lemongrass plant right since it was a tiny little bulb. It's been growing for 4 months now, and look at her right now. She is gorgeous, all ready to be harvested. So how do you grow a lemongrass plant? The soil mix, light requirements, weather conditions, and all you need to know to grow a beautiful plant like this one coming up right away. Hi, I'm Anand, and before we begin, this video has been divided into multiple chapters that you can select from the playback bar or the description box, and there's also subtitles that you can enable by pressing the CC button in the playback bar and your local language from settings. Let's begin. We'll get this plant in from where it is sunbathing. This is her favorite spot. Oh my god, that's quite heavy because of all the soil inside. Let's get her in. So let's place this pot over here. Looks good. I had tied up all the blades to make the plant a little compact because the blades were spreading all over the place. So I'll set her free. And there she is in all her glory. So I am 1.8 meters tall, 5 feet 11 inches, and you can see that the tallest blades of this plant almost reach my face. So these are the tallest blades, and they measure a whopping 60 inches. That's 5 feet. Whoa! My god, these blades itch like crazy. Okay, so how do you grow a lemongrass plant? You can grow it from a seed, but that would need a lot of pampering and tender loving care to germinate the seed, to grow the plant to the full size. The easiest way is to buy a plant from a local nursery or a garden supply store, repot it, and you have it. Another easy way is to take a bulb from the mother plant, repot it, and boom. How I did it? I received a fat bulb in a package from a local grocery. I repotted it, took care of it for about a month, and boom! I'll be doing a video very soon on how to root a lemongrass bulb and pot it and grow it into a plant. So stay tuned to the channel, press the subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss on how it's done. Soil requirements. Lemongrass is a fast grower and loves growing in rich soil. I prefer composing the potting mix myself depending on the plant's requirements. So for lemongrass, I use around 30% of vermicompost. You can also use cow dung compost, but make sure the compost is well decomposed. Around 60 to 70% of garden soil, and we have the beautiful red soil over here. And around 10% of river sand to improve drainage. Let's mix it all up. So that's how the potting mix finally looks like, and this suits my weather and my location. The proportion of sand and soil in the potting mix depends on the kind of soil that you have in your location and the weather. The soil that we have here is quite clayey and it's quite humid out here, so I prefer adding only 10 to 15% of river sand to my mix. But if you stay in a hot, dry location, then you may need to add even lesser sand or no sand at all. The bottom line is the soil has to be well draining, but at the same time, it has to be moist all day long. If it stays in dry soil for a prolonged period, the roots will dry out, the blades will dry out, and there's no coming back. The plant will die in no time. So I just added everything to the top layer of the soil and I churned up the top 1 inch layer of the soil like that. And this would loosen up the soil, would aerate the soil, and it's a good practice to do it at least once a month. Lemongrass just loves getting root bound. You get these offshoots growing all around, which further adds to the volume of the roots in the pot. So start off with at least a 6-inch pot for a baby plant, and as the clump grows bigger, move to a pot that's one size larger. You'll notice that when you move to a larger pot, the clump grows even bigger and the blades start to grow broader and longer. I use a 9-inch pot, but I'm sure if I move to a larger pot, the size of this clump would grow even larger. But I'm limited by the space in my flower bed and I'm happy with what I have. Sunlight requirements. Consider lemongrass as a wild grass that loves growing in swamps and open fields. So the more sunlight you give, the happier it gets. Nothing like giving lemongrass direct sunlight right from morning through evening. I have an east-facing window and this is the spot where the plant sits. It receives 4 hours of direct morning sunlight and right now it's 4 p.m. The sun has moved to the west and yet this spot is quite bright but shaded, and that's just enough to keep the plant happy. Lemongrass is an active summer grower and loves the bright and scorching sun. Right now we have 33 degrees centigrade or 92 degrees Fahrenheit outside with a humidity level of 55%. So if you step out of the house, you're all sticky and sweaty, but I think this plant would be loving that. Don't you? What? It says it would be even happier if the temperature was a whopping 40 degrees Celsius or even higher. That's a mighty 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Are you crazy? Well, this plant actually loves that. And if you're growing a plant in those conditions, then it's advisable to give it a good misting once or twice a day, and that will keep the plant fresh and happy. This plant hates winter and cold temperatures. So if the temperature dips below 9 degrees centigrade, 15 degrees Fahrenheit or lower, then it's advisable to get this plant indoors, which is only possible if you are growing it in a pot. If it's rooted on the ground, then it's gone. Bid it goodbye. This plant has grown to its maximum size and I don't see much growth happening now because I guess it must have got root bound. It needs a larger pot. Sorry, you're not getting it because I don't have space. So the only way to trigger new growth now is to harvest the long blades, which I'll be doing right away. So let's start cutting and we'll start with this one. You have to start cutting at a point from where the blades branch out. So that's where it is. You can use a pair of scissors, easy, but make sure that the blades are clean and sterile. So let's begin. The quickest and easiest way would be to hold all the blades like that and slash them in one go with a pair of garden scissors, and that will save you a lot of time. But I prefer doing it one by one because all the blades and stems are of different sizes, and more so because I am obsessive compulsive. You have to be very careful while handling the blades because the edges are quite sharp and it can give you a cut if you accidentally slide your fingers along. So be careful. The blades of lemongrass have very fine hair that grow on both sides in one direction, which is towards the tip. So if your skin accidentally rubs in the opposite direction, you will have an itchy skin for quite a while. So be careful and don't rub this plant the wrong way, in the literal sense. Oh God, that's stubborn. That was easy. That's easy. Oh! Ta-da! We're done. Wow! That looks clean, doesn't it? In less than a week's time, there should be visible growth on this, and there should be another round of harvest before monsoon, which is almost a month away from now. And what I will do with all these blades? Well, I'll give some to my neighbors and they'll be more than happy to take it. And I use this to flavor my tea. My tea is incomplete without lemongrass. It adds really good flavor. And you can also use these in soups and curries, and you can use these thick juicy stems in Thai curry, and it makes it really flavorful. So yeah, that's it. That was fun sharing all the information I personally know about growing and caring for a lemongrass plant. I hope it helps you in growing one. Let me know what you think, and if you have any questions or feedback, do feel free to use the comment section and I'll be more than happy to help you out. Do give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and do remember to subscribe to the channel. And until next time, take care, keep smiling, bye-bye.
24 grass hours later.
And what I want to show you today is the growth that has already taken off after harvesting the blades. I had chopped the blades at these points, here, 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 and that is the growth that happened in just one night. It's more than an inch, and that's how fast this plant grows. I also forgot to demonstrate how well draining this soil mix is, so let's do it right away. So that's 1.5 cups of water, roughly 350 ml, and I'll pour it over the top surface. Okay, so that's 1.5 cup of water, and you can see that it has already started overflowing. So there's no question of overwatering because the soil is quite well draining. So that's it.